Three,
Great.
two,
There we go.
one.
What's going on? This is the House of Boom podcast. I'm your host, Eric Boom Salvery. We're going to do that intro over again. This is the House of Boom podcast. I'm your host, Eric Boom Salvery. We was outside, but now we back inside here at Bricks Labs, the home base of the House of Boom podcast. Just so y'all know, man, today we got a fun, exciting episode. I got the one boomer sooner that I know in the building. This brother is just a genuine, cool brother. Quick story, short story, real story. Last year, I'm a gym rat. I'm going to the gym and I'm like, all right. I go look at my car and I realize that my car is broken into. So I'm like, well, it is what it is. Life happens. I ain't locked my car door, so on and so forth. And I'm like, all right, whatever, going through my gym bag. I'm looking through everything. Everything else was there except my headphones. Those dirty dozens. I'm going to keep it clean
Right.
today.
Sons of guns.
Sons of guns decided they wanted to go and they saw these nice Live brand headphones, the ones that you see on my head. They was like, oh, no, those is nice. We taking those, and just messed up my whole workout. I was messed up. But, the beautiful thing is that when you build with people and you build with genuine people, I was able to hit the creator of the Live brand headphones up and say, hey, what's going on? Mark Clayton, former Oklahoma Sooner, former, you were St. Louis Rams, right?
Oh, yeah. St.
Former
Louis.
St. Louis Rams, former
Back.
Baltimore Raven entrepreneur. Listen, bro, somebody got me for my headphones, and he said, "No worry about it, I got you." And so I got him in the building. The Ravens are in the playoffs. Oklahoma had a good year this year. Where you want to start, man? You want to talk about business? You want to talk about the Ravens? You want to talk about the Sooners? Where we going to start at?
College, league, post wherever, man. I'm open, man. Let's wrap. It's been a busy week of talking, especially with where the Ravens are. So I guess we'll start there. You got the background is looking good and nice and purple. So why not?
Yeah, I had to, give a little, purple flow. I got the burgundy to go with the Boomer Sooner and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, I remember a few years ago, I had a chance to chop it up with I can't think of my man. He played tight end for the Super Bowl when the Ravens won the Super Bowl back in the day. And he was really talking about the evolution of Lamar Jackson. You know what I mean? That quarterback that's on his way to his second MVP. And he was telling me that, at that time, we were probably only in maybe like level 2. Like when we think about cell phones, right? We always get an upgrade every couple of years. He told us we were only like level 2, level 3 of Lamar. We ain't really seen the best Lamar. And yet this year, it actually was kind of quietly, but certainly my boy took over. Talk about the Ravens right now. How you feel about them? Because they in the AFC Championship.
Shit, man, it's been an incredible year. I mean, the journey from Lamar getting in Baltimore to finally being in the AFC Championship, and not only just the AFC Championship game, but for the first time, it's been hosted in Baltimore, which is going to be electric. And I'm pumped. I'm excited for everything. I'm excited for Lamar. I'm excited to see our defense, show up, who we know is going to pack their pads. And I'm just looking forward to it.
How do you think, do you think this is going to be probably one of the best must-see games? I mean, they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl champions about a year ago. They got Patrick Mahomes. They got all of the usual characters. Man. Kelsey's still in the building. They got the Taylor Swift. With all the Swifties going against you. But they got to play and they got to play in Baltimore. Talk about that. What do you think? How's this game gonna go?
It's setting up really nice, obviously for Baltimore being at home. I mean, the matchup is incredible. I saw the stat where last week's Raven game was the most watched game on ESPN at 31.8 million, which was all crazy. So I can only imagine that this game with the two best quarterbacks on the planet in the matchup, and then everything surrounded by it, and then some Swifties adding on to it, will take that 31.8 to at least 31.9.
Mm.
It's going to be it's definitely going to be one to watch. It's, from coaching with Andy Reid and his scheme and what he does, and Mike McDaniel this year and what he's done with the Ravens defense has been, amazing. And then offensively, you got the best of all the worlds looking at both offenses when it comes to offense, and there's so much talent on both sides of the ball, and I'm just looking forward to seeing, how each coach decides to create some matchups and take advantage of the other. What Kansas City does to kind of, handle the Raven pressure and the Raven blitz that we're so good at. How we play against their run. I mean, I think that's pivotal in terms of what sets the tone, and then, who wins the game, and then honestly by how much. Because if Kansas City cannot run the ball, I think it's going to be a long day for them. And I think it's supposed to be raining. And so what happens in the rain. It gets a little dicey. And so I don't know. It's, it's a
I
good
feel
set.
like the rain is like the perfect AFC weather. Like when, the NFC, they get all the domes and the inside stuff. But the AFC, you're gonna get a slugfest with some rain. It's gonna be some muddy waters, so on and so forth. You're a former, huh?
I said, yes, sir.
You're a former Baltimore Ravens receiver. If just giving you flowers, a lot of people don't realize like how hard it is to actually get to the NFL, be the one of the 1% and all that good stuff. But
right.
What is it like to play in that stadium, in that atmosphere when you guys are good?
Yeah, it's big time, bro. I called it OU East because it was like playing in Norman, where it got really loud, like deafening at times. And you saw it last week with Houston coming in there and having the pre-snap penalties and the delay of game, and just the communication issues were basically because of the fans. And so it is electric, and we got hands down the best fan base in the NFL, and that week, that game versus Houston was a part of proving it.
Right now, today, actually, as I was driving up to the studio, we just found out that Jim Harbaugh, I believe, is it Jim or John? Jim Harbaugh just became the head coach of the San Diego Chargers, but LA Chargers, I'm sorry. My producer just reminded me he is LA Charger. But there's another Harbaugh that's the head of the Baltimore Ravens. What do you think of him as a coach, and what do you like about him? What is it about his character that keeps the Ravens like in play?
Man, Harbaugh has morphed and just molded and each year, each team is different. I think he is obviously like an elite head coach. And I'm just seeing him now and where he's at. I enjoy watching him as a coach. Listening to him talk and then watching the celebrations is like, who is this guy? Because he was absolutely not that in the beginning. It was very serious, very had something to prove, and wanted to make sure that he had us in line and everybody was on the same page, and we're grinding, and it wasn't a lot of room to just breathe and truly just have fun and enjoy it. And with where he's at today is awesome to watch. And then on top of that, to see the team and how hard we play, as we usually do, but at the same time, the celebrations that come along with it, and knowing that these moments are highly valued and they're not taken for granted. And Coach Harbaugh doesn't mix football with reality. He understands that it's just a game, and it's about the relationships that are there, and the guys that are in that locker room, and the administration, and the staff. And I believe he absolutely pours into that. And I think what we see in the Ravens, and another reason why over the years, when anybody stepped foot, in the Baltimore doors, they feel like and consider it to be home, a second home, some kind of home. And sometimes it overtakes where they came from. But a lot of that has to do with the top down. So Steve Bisciotti, how he is. Before that, Art Mordell and how he was, and then now with Harbaugh and how he is very genuine and thoughtful in how he engages with the guys. And so I think that's a big reason as to why this team is also so good and everybody plays so hard for each other.
Speaking of engagement, and you talked about how, the attitude from the top down. Now you play a receiver, and your most, important relationship is your relationship with the quarterback. But can you talk about the importance between the head coach and the quarterback that really resonates throughout the whole team?
Yeah, because the head coach he's basically he's managing the game, kind of the strategy game, calls in the game, and if we want to go for it on fourth, punt, like stuff like that, and that is all a trust thing. And so quarterback head coach relationship has to be open, has to be fluid, and a lot of that has to do with encouraging your quarterback to grow and be the leader and be the guy. And he's done that, in an amazing way with Lamar. And so I think, he's loved him from day one and has never, ever said anything, negative, or has always been uplifting and always had Lamar's back at every turn, every corner. And we're seeing kind of the fruit of that relationship that began when Lamar was rookie to where they are today.
I'm reminded of, when Lamar Jackson was coming out, they want, one of those pundits say, oh, well, he should play receiver, or he's a running back, or he's a defensive back. And yet he's turned into now almost a unanimous two-time MVP. And I remember one game I watched, I think it was last year or the beginning, it might have been the beginning of last year or the year before, where they were playing the Raiders, and I think they had to go for two or something like that. And I remember Harbaugh going to Lamar and they were like, "Yo, what do you want to do?" Yep. And he was like, "All right, let's go for it, and let's go for it." And they went through it, and they went for it. They scored. It was a crazy game because they kept going back and forth. And then I remember Lamar did like a flip in the end zone and all that stuff. But it was like, yo, that relationship shined through in that moment where you see a lot of quarterbacks who don't have that relationship. You see arguing. I could think of like, Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, or some other things that have gone on this year.
Aaron Rodgers LaFleur. I don't know.
Yeah.
Where Aaron left. LaFleur with I get it,
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, man. Most definitely.
I realized that both of your teams were in the playoffs this year. Would you have had a hard time if the Rams had made it this far in Baltimore, choosing who to support?
It would have been difficult if there was a Rams-Ravens Super Bowl. Certainly, but it wouldn't have. It's Ravens. So it's something like the team that knew first, and they were like, "Man, you're it," and we want to have you. Like, we want to build with you, we want to grow with you, and it set me up in my for life ultimately. And so it's just something there that's a lot deeper when it comes to the Ravens for me. But the Rams was just a sweet situation, and it was being there was like I got to feel like I was in college again because we threw the ball a lot, and that made it fun.
Bradford was your quarterback when you went to the Rams, right?
Yep, slinging 17. Yeah, man. Yeah, to sling it around and be a part of a team that's slinging around in the NFL was just refreshing. Coming from college where we threw the ball quite a bit, and I got all the balls, and to going over there to the Rams. And it feeling like college again was just like, oh, this is amazing. And so that always will have a special part in my heart too.
Before we turn the page on this conversation about the Ravens, can you talk about just what it was like you talked about being drafted and just the belief of of them in you to bring you there. Can you talk about Ozzie Newsome a little bit, because it's almost like he was his last gift to the Ravens was drafting Lamar Jackson. But can you talk about Ozzie a little bit?
Man, Ozzie, I don't know if they do the like two-time Hall of Fame induction thing, but Ozzie could almost go in the Hall of Fame again. Just his role as a GM and his eye for, talent and building teams and finding diamonds in the rough and, giving guys chances and, all those things. He's one of those great pivotal guys in the organization, or anybody that has a guy like that, is consistently a championship contender, or a division winning contender year in and year out, which obviously bodes well for your fan base and everybody involved, because when the organization does well, everybody's happy. And Ozzie has been, monumental in making sure that the Ravens has always had talent and been in position to have a shot at not only getting to the playoffs but winning the Super Bowl. But he's big time, one of the greatest ever.
Was Ray still there when you played, Ray Lewis?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. How was it going against him in practice?
NFL practice is different.
Yeah.
We didn't go live too much, which I'm grateful for. I mean, today they even go even less, I'm sure. Rules that they have, but no, it was great to be around, great to have as a teammate, just to watch him work, listen to him talk, listen to those speeches. His influence on guys was just infectious, and he's just the ultimate motivator, and it's crazy. And so he also didn't have to say much at times either, because you just saw, how focused, how his attention to detail and all those things, just as a player, is the stuff that you want. Those are the characteristics that you look for in teammates or players or great players and leaders. And he just did it. Man, he was hands down the best leaders in the NFL history, and arguably the best.
We're going from one legend, but you also played for a legendary coach in college. You know what I mean? That's your jersey right there, the Oklahoma Sooners jersey that's behind you, for anybody that's watching. And Bob Stoops you played for, but I believe you were like one of the most ecstatic people I saw on social media when they hired Brent Venables as the head coach of Oklahoma. So how do you feel about how the program did? Because they definitely got that clap back against Texas this year, and but ended a little rougher than they thought about. What do you think about the state of the program and how things are right now?
Yeah, I think I was glad that our administration, Joe Castiglione and staff, everybody came together and decided to make the jump to the SEC. I thought, especially with the college climate and where we're at and where we're headed, I think aligning with that conference was a great move for us, for the future of the program and the value of the program. And I feel like bringing Brent Venables in was the perfect move, because one, I mean, I'm like a big family, like internal kind of guy, especially when that pedigree is championship. And then on top of that, I'm a big attitude dude. Like it's all about, being, aggressive and intense and passionate about what you're doing. And even if it's a quiet guy like myself, I'm not a very vocal dude on the field, but on the inside is a fire. And, I'll, as a quiet dude, looking to knock somebody ass out. But just kind of that aggression and that passion for whatever it is that you're doing, I feel like it needs to be there. And in most cases, especially on defense, and I'm a defensive minded guy, even as a wide receiver, because I understand defense wins championships. And with Brent Venables coming in, I felt like he was going to be a champion for that. And we were, at the minimum, we were going to show up, a team's going to show up and play with passion, like, with a match lit up on their ass, and they're going to get after it. And that, to me, watching as an alum, watching as a fan of that team, you can't get mad at it. Like I don't get mad at when I see somebody giving literally like everything that they have to make a play or be in the play or whatever it is. I don't get mad, especially when it's on defense. Offense, I think differently. I think there's some physicality that has to happen in the running game, and I think there's physicality in the passing game as well, but it's just different. It's almost more scheme and what the play calling is that says we think our guys are better than your guys, whether it is running or whether it's throwing the ball down the field in a way that says my guy's going to beat you, or y'all will not come up and press us because we will run by you. Different things like that that can communicate an aggressiveness or aggressive nature to an offense that I think will kind of flow downstream from what BV brings to the table.
But so I got 3 college questions.
Yep.
One. Well, this is a college/NFL question. How do you feel about CeeDee Lamb's year that he had with the Cowboys? You know what I mean, this year. My second question would be, what would Mark Clayton's NIL number been if you played today? And
oh man,
would Oklahoma have been able to keep you? Because these coaches, they be playing. Last week I talked about on the sports podcast. In high school, we played this game called Snatchies, where somebody would come up to you in high school and they would shake your hand, and if you were eating lunch and they said Snatchies, that means they could take your lunch legally so you had to say no Snatchies.
No Snatchies. Okay.
No Snatchies. So that's how I feel like the other college programs are doing right now. They just playing Snatchies with players like, oh, okay. Oh, you had a 1,000-yard year and you went to this booty school. All right, Snatchies, coming over here and play with us. So would Oklahoma been able to keep you? What was your NIL number, and what do you think about CeeDee Lamb's year this year? Those 3, and then we're gonna get out of here because I know you got other things to do.
Man, so CeeDee Lamb is a dog, flat out, and the year he had was incredible. And piggybacked on the year before that, he's done nothing but get it. He's done nothing since he's been in the NFL. He's done nothing but ball, and he's growing. He's getting smarter. He's understanding more, and in the game is, you can tell it's slow for him. He knows how to set up. He knows, how to be patient. He knows how to get open, and he makes plays. He makes tough plays. And this was hands down the best year that he's ever had, and I don't think is the last year that he's going to have where he beats these numbers. That relationship between him and Dak, and then having an offensive coordinator that is bought in and willing to feed you like that, that's what you want. That's literally all you want as a receiver going into the NFL and wanting to have a successful career. And he got it, and it makes me so happy to say that he's a Sooner. He's a brother, and he's doing his thing like that right here in Dallas. And then the NIL number, I don't know. I figured
you were a top receiver when you were. It wasn't like you was a slouch.
Right. I was so as a Blitnikoff finalist. After that, I think that number obviously is pretty stout. I would say it has to be somewhere in the $1 million range. Like
okay,
like 750 to $1 million, somewhere in there. With
you go.
Kind of other marketing pieces in there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, something like that. But then the insurance policy that would probably come with that which was in place still, would be up there even more so.
And then lastly, would Oklahoma have been able to keep you, or you would have bled like, nah, this is where I'm at 110%.
Yeah. I would have been in Oklahoma. It was, I just knowing myself at that time, the reason I even came back for my senior year was to go win a national championship. No, like I had a first round grade after my junior year, so I could have went and been in there, but it was like me, Jason White, Jamal Brown, Vince Carter, Dan Cody, had a little chat, and it was like, man, we need to go win one. And went back and we did.
Was AP AP with you?
AP was back. Yeah, he came.
Oh.
So I came back senior year, and then we had AP. It was And so we went back. We did go back to the national championship, but we did not win. It was an ugly sight in Miami, Florida. But we went back. So
I don't think. I mean, we live in a generation where the running back is so devalued, but I really don't think how people. I feel like Adrian Peterson probably, if he wanted to, he could have Frank Gore that thing and still be playing today.
Yeah, definitely.
He was different.
He could. He was way different. I think, we do devalue running backs, but you can see, excuse me, you can see where and why the devaluation happens.
Right.
Because good run schemes allow backs to not necessarily be touched, for the first few yards, which, okay, we can get 100 different backs to, run through in a gap scheme or a trap scheme or something like that. And that's not necessarily get touched to a second level and arm tackle here and there. But Adrian Peterson and others that are elite and special, a CMC, a Saquon, they get through, and the first person rarely ever gets them. Like the first person doesn't tackle them. Like they don't happen. And then after that, the chances for whether it's a big play, a chunk play, or home run are higher. And that's where running backs, to me, have true value. It's in breaking tackles and home run ability. Not everybody has that at all. There's thousands of backs that can, get you a couple here, 3 there, 5, 10, even 12, whatever. But it is rare that there's a kid like an Adrian Peterson that, once he touches it, it's it could very well home run from 90 or it doesn't matter. But yeah.
That's what it is, man. I know we got to get you out of here, but I want to give you space and time to shout out anything you're doing. Obviously, Live Brand, or where they can find that stuff, to stay tuned for the merch and your Instagram and anything else that you got going on that maybe I missed.
Man, so first of all, on your story, obviously, it's my pleasure. As an entrepreneur, building something and wanting to do something special and create something that people enjoy. For you to be one of the first ones to believe and say like, yo, like I got you. Like I love what you're doing. I love what you got actually. And the product is legit. And so it was my pleasure to, get you a unit.
Bro, I'm when I tell you I'm faithful to these things, you could almost look at almost any fitness video since we met maybe 4 years ago. Yep. And they're there.
And they're there. Yeah,
so
first of all that. And then on top of that, with that, we are working on the second generation, which will blow those out the water, and it's supposed to. That will be launching pre-sale this summer. But in the meantime, everybody or anybody can hit me up, Instagram or X, whatever we call it. Twitter if you like it, and follow me. And over the next few months, I'll be posting more about the launch date, leading up to the launch date, and more about the actual journey, like the development of the headphones and everything. That's a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes as well.
And if you do some type of launch party, for sure, let me know. I'll pull up to Dallas and just like, listen, get these, buy these. Like, these are the ones. I'm telling you.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you again for just taking some time out of your busy schedule to come on the House of Boom podcast. This is House of Boom podcast / Boom on Sports. That's Mark Clayton, the Boomer Sooner, the Baltimore Ravens. Go Ravens. Let's see how I go. I'm Team Ravens. I'm a Cowboys fan, but I'm Team Ravens this week. I actually was a Ravens fan back in the day because their defense was crazy, and you could not love having Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, even Prime played for the Ravens back in the day for a little bit, so it was crazy. But I just thank you again, brother, for coming on. And I look forward to building with you some more, man. So with that being said, this is the House of Boom podcast. I'm your host, Eric Boom Salvery, and I'm out. Peace.